We're live, baby. I think we're live.
Nope.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. We are live.
Well, I can see the live in the top left, so we should be fine.
Yes. So I'm not sure to tell how people have joined or not. I think we're going live in Instagram. So, I can see the eye up at the top. It shows how many people are here.
I'm not sure if I can see that, but yeah, I'll tell you what.
I guess you can't see it. I don't know what you could see. I sent you a screenshot of what I could see. So, well, here we are.
Okay.
We decided to go live. We talked about it and we did it. And then last night I was setting up, realizing to go on LinkedIn, I'm going to need to use a third-party software. So Steve being Steve, I signed up and said, you know what? Let's do as many streams as accounts that I have. So we're gonna be Facebook, LinkedIn. That's the exciting one for me because I have close to 15,000 people following. And then we're gonna do YouTube. We're starting a YouTube page. I've already got a YouTube where I've been throwing up some of my doing my flying and my motorcycle stuff, and now we're gonna put in some coaching. And then X. I haven't really done much on X. I've just been I spent the $10 to get I guess verified because I want to be verified, and then Instagram. So we're streaming over five streams.
It's not bad going, is it, for first live stream? It's not too bad.
Yeah.
So what platforms there are other than that, but I think that's the main one.
I think I want to get into TikTok because I feel like just with the things going on that the younger generation is looking for some leadership. So that's kind of that I did sign up for TikTok, but I didn't work on it this morning. But anyway, besides that, here we are. Adam, I don't know what happened. You had a light on before, it turned off. You got darker for some reason.
That is a good point.
There you go.
You come back on.
Yeah, but I don't know if you got a window behind you. Yeah, your light. It's like when your hand goes over. Like, see, it's brighter there.
Okay.
Then when you remove it, it's one of those. You got to watch those.
I'm gonna stay here. Okay, we should be fine.
Yeah. There, it looks good. I like that.
Fantastic.
So, this is completely unscripted. We're just doing this. So I guess Adam, tell us about you and tell what's going on for you and why are you here?
Good question, really. Yeah. So I ended up meeting Steve, a few months ago now, really. Since we started speaking, we really just kicked off straight out the gate. He was sharing a little bit about what he was doing. Honestly, just to hear his story was very inspiring for me, to say the least. Just hearing him, I suppose his experience he's had not only in business, just in life. I mean, I came in for a business school and certainly didn't end up being one by the end of it. We covered a lot of different various topics, and he really just shared, I suppose, his main vision for what we were doing. And that's what really excited me and kind of kicked this relationship off, was him sharing his mission as to where he was trying to go. And it really started to align with the impact I want to have on the world as well. So since then, I've really been working closely with Steve as we are today, just on understanding, just being part of his coaching program, him helping me through certain problems I'm facing, just how I can start to level up in my own career and just life in general. And so I'm hoping today he can start to do the same by me giving him some questions, just back and forth, us having that conversation as we usually would. I'm just hoping that some other people get some value from it. So, yeah, in terms of a bit about me, just been running a media company over the last year. And so just getting Steve's perspective on that as well has been extremely helpful. Still in the early days of my business career, but experience-wise, I've had a bit of experience at multiple companies before this point. And so, yeah, overall, just trying to connect with other people. Meeting Steve has really helped me to build out my career as a whole. So I'm excited for today, to say the least.
Awesome. So I'm trying to figure out, there's someone's Stella's made a comment.
Yes, I can see that.
Oh, so you can see it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know how to do I reply? I guess reply all.
I mean, to be honest, Steve, I think
he looks like such an awesome. Thank you, Stella. And again, I don't know when you jumped on, but I literally just installed this software last night. I was up till midnight, and we're streaming live to 5 platforms. And Adam and I were talking about let's do this. One of the things I love about Adam is he's a young man. And when I talk to him, it's just like he's just eating it up. and so we just have so much fun. And I was like, it seems like you're really getting a lot out of this. And it's what I want to do is be authentic, right? And in a world where AI is so prevalent in everything, and everybody's checking their work and doing different things, I just thought, about the only way you can show that you're not using AI is to just do live and unscripted, exactly. Right? And I asked Adam, I was like, do you have some questions for me? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, he's like, this is unscripted. I was like, well, yeah, for me. But it's all good. It's all good. So I guess, I'll give you a little background on me. I'm a mechanical engineer. I've got 25 patents, and I've been very successful in that arena. But you have to realize is also that my mom just told me about 5 years ago that when I was 7, I could barely put a sentence together. And so as I go back and I look over at my life, I'm just so grateful, and I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here with all the things. My mom left me when I was 5, and mommy problems, whatever you want to call those. And then I was bullied by the PE coach when I was 11. And he told the whole school we can't play dodgeball because Steve Crow went crying home to his mommy, and so that kind of thing. And I'm writing a book, and I'm so close. I hear that getting your book out is good to do in like January, like the new year. So I've had it all written. I've had it for months. I've had it written, but it's just not what I want it to be. And so I'm going to go back over these next 3 months and then review what I was doing, update the book. It's got 30 chapters, but it's called How to Embrace Your Bully, because I don't think I would be the man I am today had I not had that bully when I was 11. Right. And so that gets me excited. That gets me jacked up. And that's where my passion is. And if you want to know my why, my true why is every day I get up, because when my dad passed 2013, he has brain cancer. It took him 18 months to die. But before he passed, he said, son, simplify your life. Simplify your life. And then he told me also, he said that the people that you bring to God are going to be at the gates of heaven when you pass. And so I've updated that myself over the years. And I say the people that I influence in such a way that it not only changes their life, but it changes the life of the people around them. Right? It changes not the life, but it changes the trajectory of their life. Because we don't realize it, but what happens is, and everything that I share, I've just lived. This is not from a book. This is not from somebody else. I mean, some of it I do pick up from others, but most of it is just I have lived it. In the 56 years of my life, I have lived all of these things that I'm sharing, and that's why I'm so excited about it. Because when I sold my oil and gas company, December 2023, I was asking the question, how can I share this with other people? Because I had gone down all these dead end roads, and the next thing you know, you ask that question, and I meet the son of my mentor, and he says something. He's sharing. It's a 5-day free thing, but he says there's people right now that are praying for you to show up, and you're not there. And I was like, wow, that is huge, because that is true. It's true of every one of us, right? So I know I'm doing a lot of talking here. I got to watch it because I get excited. But Adam. That was a little bit of introduction for me, but what are your thoughts? What's going on? What unscripted thing is going to come out of that noggin of yours?
Well, the thing that I'm most interested in right now, Steve, is because obviously you've had a lot of success in the past. Like, you've made an impact. You've obviously had a successful career as well up to this point. What gets you so excited about the future in terms of where you want to take things, the impact you want to have, the lives you want to change? What's like really firing you up to get out of bed every morning? What keeps the energy for you?
That's a great question. So for me is, that thing my mom told me that, I could barely put a sentence together. I was held back in 2nd grade, and I just think about how far I've come. It took me 8 years to get my engineering degree. I did 4 years at a junior college and 4 years at a regular college, right? But I was so busy. I put a Corvette 327, V8 in a Malibu, right? And I put 4 transmissions in it. I was doing all these things. I was busy. I was doing things, but I couldn't get focused. And then my sister passed away.
Right.
I was 20 when she passed away. And so you just going through all these hardships. And then in the series of 3 months, 2013, I lost everything. I was being groomed to be executive VP of a large company, Baker Hughes, and I went out and I aced. I was a project manager for a big, $100 million stack up test that we were doing for a large oil company. And I aced it. I got called out by the boss's boss saying, "Where's Steve Crow? He's done such an amazing job on this." And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? The engineering used to take me 3 to 6 years. And this was about a 2-year deal. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to drive back from Bossier and everybody's going to be like, you did the most amazing work, Steve. And instead I get fired, so my dad had just died, not like three months prior. So it took him 18 months to die. And, I was driving from here by myself to Dallas a lot. My second wife wasn't supporting me. So, after 10 months, 16 months from my first one, I just said, I can't do this anymore. So all these things that happened to me. So in 3 months, I lose my job. I lose my dad. I'm divorcing my wife. She kicks me out of her house. All my friends ghost me. And I'm at a point, I'm at the lowest point in my life where I just like, should I end it? I was asking that question. And I thought about my daughters and I thought about my mom and how amazing she is. And I was like, no, I got Tony Robbins, Get the Edge. And I started going for walks and I started saying things out loud. Like, this is both, this, right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to that. And here I am. Right. So that's what gets me jacked, is because I know what really gets me jacked is I don't want people to have to hit the bottom. I want to catch you before you hit the bottom. Right. Because I know I've been there. I know that. And so that's why I'm so excited when I talk about how people are stuck, how they're unfulfilled, how they're uncertain, how they're overwhelmed. Every one of us is that, right? I mean, even this morning, before going live, I was just like, I had to go to the bathroom. I don't know how many times, right? Because I'm like, when me and you jumped on the call, it's like, we're doing this. And it's like, we have never been on this platform. Yeah. Like at the first time, I could not get us to go up on the screen. And I'm sitting there going, what have I done? I can't even get us to show up on the screen.
We got there in the end, though. That's
so
all
the long answer is, it's just, I've been to the bottom and I've seen other people. I've prayed for a crack, someone that's a crack addict for 20 years and watched them change. It took 20 years of praying, but I know prayer works. Right. But what gets me really excited is not to not have to do the 20 years, right? It's all our thoughts. Everything is our thoughts. Everything. Our thoughts drive our feelings drive our actions, and our actions drive our results.
I love that. I gotta say, this is
right?
inspiring already.
If you don't like your results, it all goes back to the thought. It's not victimhood. Life isn't happening to you; it's happening for you, right?
It's a good shift in dynamic. I hear people saying that, and it's actually this morning.
Oh, it's easy to say it. You got to live it.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's the most difficult part, isn't it? I've heard a few different representations of it. People say life is happening because of me. That was another shift. How did you feel about that one? Because that was I can't remember who it was that said it.
So I'll give you an example. Yeah, I love examples, and so you can learn through me. I fall on the sword all the time. Yeah. So yesterday, before I met with a client at 11 o'clock, it's the wife of one of my clients, which is, I love it because he trusts me to work with his wife and he's so happy. He was the one, I've never been so happy. But right before that call, literally 4 minutes, right? I get a call from a guy I've invested, 6 figures, right? Big 6 figures, right? And he tells me that it's pretty much all gone, right? So it's close to 200,000, right? But today I've never been more happy, right? And it's like, how is that? How can you lose 200, close to 200 grand and be happy? Yeah. And it's like, because I know because I know if I lost that doing the right thing in integrity, I know that 200 grand is going to be twofold. That 200 grand is going to turn into 2 million. Easy. But because I believe no one expect. See, that's the deal. We kind of believe. We don't. We're not really sure, and we surely don't expect it. So it's not going to happen.
But see, most people wouldn't have reacted the same way you did if they're the same situation like that come up. I mean, losing any money now would be crazy, especially at that level. It's going to be, I don't know, I'm interested now how you feel about it. Getting to a position where you're that low, not even just that example in general, when you reach the lowest point, like you mentioned in your story already, you've reached a lot of low points in life, but you managed to get back up. How do you go about doing that? What's the reason for it?
So what it is, we don't do a whole lot of thinking. We don't do a lot. Not about 97% of our thoughts are just the past. We just replay the past. And and so I talk about our flesh, right? I call it our lizard side. Truly, our lizard is in control of everything. And if you really understood that your lizard side is doing everything and controlling you, that would be, that's you would not want that. But that's what's happening to like 99.999% of people. Right? So my lizard side would be upset. Right?
I see.
The lizard side, the flesh side is the one that says you have to eat. You got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It took me 3 years, but over 3 years doing the Daniel fast with my church, where it's 21 days, all we would eat was like nuts and lettuce and stuff like that. You couldn't eat any protein.
Sure.
So I did that for 1 year, and the next year I kind of did it, and then the next year I did better. But see, I'm always amping up, kind of like just like today. I was like, we're not going to live stream to one platform. Let's do 5 at once. I've never done it, right? So what I did is I started thinking about that.
You're talking about the lizard side and
so then I ramped it up. I said, you know what? Now I'm not going to eat for 72 hours.
Okay.
Let's do that. Sure. Let's not eat for 72 hours. Let's just drink water. First 2 days, terrible, very difficult. Third day, I was like in the Matrix. I was like, what is this? I've never felt so light on my feet, right? My bowel's empty, everything's empty. And now my body, if you don't eat, look at what happens to your body, right? My body developed stem cells. It started flowing stem cells through my blood. My blood, I think, did some other stuff, but I never felt so good. Right? And so that's when I learned. That's why people say fast, because you start to learn. You just told the lizard no.
I mean,
how many decades did it take to tell the lizard no?
Too long. I mean, do you think a big part of it is just recognizing that you even have a lizard in the first place?
That's a good start. That's a good start, because no one really talks about it, right? They don't understand it. See, I'm on the other side, right? It took me 45 years of being an engineer, developing new technology with a minor in psychology to go, well, maybe I should go down this road and go down that road. And I went down a bunch of dead-end roads. I don't want other people to go down those dead-end roads. I don't want other people to spend 45 years trying to figure it out. Right now, it takes me literally 3 months. 3 months, and in about 6 weeks, the oil and gas CEO, he came on. He said, Steve, I don't know what to think about all this, but I've got to tell you, I've just never been so happy. He's in his 60s. I have never been so happy. Do you know what that was like for me that day? I was like, hallelujah. I was just like, yes. I've been working towards that. But this, you have to realize, this individual, he's a big thinker, and he's a super smart guy. But when I start introducing some of these thoughts, right, working on his thoughts, and he starts diving into that, he's not even done, and he's already saying, hey, Steve, how can I coach my wife? And I was like, she'll never go for this. And I said, And I thought, and it's just amazing when we do some of the exercises we do, how we're connecting to a higher power, and then it just dropped in. I said, just give it to her as a gift. She can't say no to a gift.
Yeah.
Right. He literally just did it. She didn't know me from Adam, right? It's pun intended, but she didn't know me from Adam. I literally met her on the first week's call.
How much of it comes down to the coach versus the client, would you say, in this case? Like, you talk about these transformations. Obviously, there's people that like change their life by doing it.
You get what you put in.
Okay.
Right. I mean, anything you do, right? You get what you put in. The thing is, and that's a great question, because coaching is just so, even as a coach, I didn't even know what a coach was, right? What because what is a coach, right? And you go through, I mean, even when I was a CTO or a CEO, I mean, there's a lot of people walking around going, what does a CEO do? Right. I had the position, but I mean, I'm looking at CEOs. I mean, I know one, for instance, that was in operations that was given, has that position now. And I know why it's not doing well for him. Right. I'm very passionate about this, but it's because the people that can execute, do things, they're not visionary. The people that are visionary, they can't execute. That's why so many people have a hard time. So when I was being groomed to be an executive VP of that company,
sure,
I was put through the paces. I was a talent manager for 1,200 people. What was the first thing they told me? These guys are so smart. They're gonna come up with patents. They're gonna come up with all these new things. But guess what? They're gonna be really bad at leadership, sales, and marketing. Right. And then they talked about how the people that can execute are they go that way. They can't do both. So what do you think I've been doing for 20 years? Yes.
That kind of makes a lot more sense now as you break it down to that. Because
that's why I'm a unicorn. I'm a unicorn, and I meet other unicorns because I can tell other unicorns can, right? Right?
Exactly.
You know what you know. And so that's what gets exciting for me. And I was going to talk about another thing. The coaching part. A lot of people think of coaches like football coach, tennis, all those things.
Sure.
No. And see, this is the problem. A lot of coaches go get about 3 months of training, and now they're a coach. And I'm not trying to go against coaches. I'm so thankful for them. They have a heart, right? These people, They have a heart. But what they don't realize, I've been coaching for 20 plus years, right? They don't realize is that they accidentally start planting their seeds in their client's garden.
Yeah.
And so, and the clients love it, right? Because they're telling, right? They're saying, oh, you should make a right turn here. I can see it. It's so easy. I'm 10,000 feet above you. It's just a right turn. No. It took me so long to realize this is because I've got to teach my clients how to connect themselves to the infinite, to God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. There's something out there making all this happen.
So how do you do that though? How do you do that part? How do you
that breathing? It's the breathing exercise we do. It's been developed over like 45 years. There's somebody else developed, not me. Right. So that's one of, I always give credit where credit's due. So that's my mentor. They came up with that. But what happens is I need to reflect back to them and ask them the questions to help them get their own answer. Mm. See, I don't need my clients hooking up to my cart. I don't want them hooking up to my cart. Right. I got enough stuff going on. I got 5 companies and all that stuff. Right. I'm doing this to give back.
Sure.
After I moved to a board seat, January 2021 with my company, I traveled the world. I spent 18 months. I bought a plane. I'm instrument rated private pilot. I did all that stuff. And I was just sitting there going, my heart is in giving. And how am I giving? This is not giving. And so how can I give? And that's when I asked myself, what would I love to do? And I thought back, what was the most fun that I had in my 20, 30 year career. And when I was leading those engineers and scientists, I love it. And it was so much fun working with the young guys. I remember one young guy, I walked in and he was having trouble with his project. And he said, such and such asked me to work on this. And I said, okay. I said, well, who do you think the subject matter expert is on this? He said, oh, the lady that developed this technology. And I said, is she here? No. I said, well, is your boss, is he working on this? No. I said, well, who do you think the subject matter expert is? Me?
Yeah.
That's what? I mean, it's just like, oh. And then he started he was having problems. Things weren't fitting. And I'd been out in the field, and I came in, and they said, this won't fit. And I said, give me a 10-pound sledgehammer. And I said, put it on there. And I took that 10-pound sledgehammer. I went, bam, as hard as I could hit it. And then I picked it up. I said, well, that's where it's interfering. So then I went over and ground. I spent 50 hours grinding on these pieces to get them to work.
Wow.
Right. We got them to work because I'm the grease head. Right. I put a 5-liter Mustang motor in the Miata. Right. I put the 327 Corvette engine in the Malibu. Right. Yeah. I love doing that. But what I really loved was seeing that young man's eyes pop up and go, wow, I'm the subject matter expert. And then I started asking him, I said, so the reason why this isn't going in, why doesn't it fit? He said, well, because the SolidWorks, the 3-dimensional drawings that I do, don't represent what's true. And I was like, well, how is that? Because they're all parametrically driven. So whatever you drew must be it. What's wrong? He said, well, this groove's not right. And I said, well, how could you figure out how it is right? Maybe go to the machine shop. See how they're machining it, right? And then the cast part. Well, why is the casting not working? What should we do about that? Maybe go to the vendor that's casting the parts. But what I really did is, and I told him, I said, I want you to think of this project as your own little company. Like you are the one that's having to do all that. You don't have all the backing of the big company and all the money. It's just like, you got to get this done. How would you get it done?
But see, whose fault do you think that is, though? Because I obviously understand on one end that can be his way of thinking, but I think leaders play a big part in the responsibility.
There's no leaders, dude. You're asking, man. It's almost like, dude. The thing is, I was part of a group of a bunch of groups inside a division. My group was getting more done than all the other groups.
Why is that?
I'm saying that because I thought I was a great leader. I was a terrible leader. I was the worst leader. I would not find out till later, till I started my own oil and gas company and started working with people and realizing what that truly is to be a leader.
Yeah.
See, there are no leaders to follow.
Sure.
And it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's very pervasive. But what I was doing is I was taking that reason why I was getting more done was, one thing is I don't do anything like anybody else ever did it. If somebody did it that way, that's fine. If that's what I need, I'll take it. But if I look at it and go, well, the reason is because when I came out of college, went directly into to Halliburton. My dad worked at Halliburton. I was Bob Crow's son, and I was like one of the first person they hired in like 20 years.
Yeah. So
I was walking around, and I noticed that everybody was doing things like from 20 years ago. And then I don't know what, maybe that was enough to kick me in the bottom to say that
yeah.
I can't do things like, so that's why I did really well. And I would go on and find out I wasn't a good manager because I was taking my anxiety and I was projecting it on my direct reports, which got them like going, woo, get it done. We got more done than anybody else. And I had it working, but that's until I saw one of my employees have something physical happen to him. That's when I realized, yeah.
I mean, what needs to change though for that to get better though, where leaders are actually at the level required to help employees? Because I agree with you, by the way. I can see it getting worse. But on the other end, we have more information out there than ever. Like when it comes to being a leader, there's YouTube videos.
The thing is, it's all noise, right? Well, it's all noise. Do it like this. Do it like that. I mean, I have a leadership coach that I've been going to. And it's wonderful because all the stuff he's bringing up is all the stuff that I did. And, he brings up and he's showing other people, and and I know him, but it's like, and I'm watching, but he's like, he brought up Steve Jobs brings all of his leaders, on a Monday to meet for 3 hours. And I did the same thing. I had no idea Steve Jobs was doing it. I just did it for 1 hour. But why did I do that? Right. I had nobody to follow. I started my own company. But the reason why I did is because when I worked at those larger companies, I saw how everybody was siloed, right? It's us against them.
I like that.
But when you bring everybody together and they're not just pushing papers, they're talking about their challenges and the need and what they need to help and how they're moving forward and what they've been able to do from the last week to this week, sharing it with all the other leaders. Some of the other leaders goes, you know what? I didn't even know you guys were doing that. Maybe if y'all didn't do that, we could do this and we could change that. And it just get rid of a whole process and be so much faster.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Steve, I'm going to say you got a call now.
I know. I got my client to jump on. So it's 30 minutes. I think we hit some good points. Unscripted. I love it. Let's do it again. Maybe next week. Same time, same place.
It's not bad for a first timer.
Yes. I appreciate you.
Perfect.
Talk to you later.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.